Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, The Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store.
And good afternoon, Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League fans. Happy Thanksgiving, and thank you for tuning in to a Sunday afternoon edition of MMJHL Game Day on this holiday weekend in October. As it's a wonderful time of the year and a wonderful time to be able to see these two teams that'll be in action this afternoon. And the St. Vital Junior Victorias coming into East End Arena, the home of the Transcona Railer Express, for this Thanksgiving showdown in the 2025-2026 MMJHL regular season. We are brought to you by Elite Prospects, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Terrico, as well as goaltenders and movement, fitness, and performance. As for how both these teams started off their week here in the second week of MMJHL regular season action, the Victorias got started a day earlier than the Railer Express. So St. Vital were searching for their first win this past Thursday as they went 0-2 over opening weekend, and what a way to start for the St. Vital Junior Victorias, as this puck will be worked to Ostorino. Ostorino wheels around, throws a puck in front as that pass connects with Tyler Free, and the Victorias end up drawing first blood in this one. They get up to 3-0, but later on in the period, the Raiders Junior Hockey Club capitalizing on a short-handed opportunity as things kind of breaking down for St. Vital. Be 3-1 heading into the second. As we fast forward in Thursday night's contest into the third period, after the Raiders cut the Vicks lead down to only one in the third, they would work it around on the power play shot in front. Would be put home as the Raiders would go up would tie this one up. And then moments later, led by one of their more experienced players, by Aiden Anderson out there right now. Anderson and Saxberg lost the battle down low. Saxberg fresh out of the penalty box, just holding the line. Enerson gets spun there. Now high slot, Penner, somehow that gets through him, and the Raiders take the lead. And Kennedy finds a way to put one past Ethan Penner to give the Raiders their first lead of the game, but the Victorias wouldn't be done just yet. Into the final moments, working this puck towards the front of the net, ends up onto the stick of Tyler Free as the rookie would have his hat trick. What a memorable night for him. this game would be going into overtime, and after plenty of patience, the Victorias would finally find an open seam here in neutral ice, able to win the face-off draw, taking care of that detail, and what a pass up to Ben Dinez as the rookie, backhand, forehand, puts one past Braden Martell as the Victorias come away with their first win of their regular season. Of course, looking to carry that momentum into this afternoon's matchup for the St. Vital Junior Victorias side. Finally on the board for the first time this season with a win. Their young guns have been shining. Tyler Free with a hat trick. Ben Dinez with the game winner. As mentioned, Chris Ostorino, number 9 for this team. He's been really good this season so far. And yeah, it's nice to see those guys making an immediate impact and contributing to a St. Vital team that's really needed those guys to step up so far. But it's about consistency. You know, you go up 3-0 in that game against the Raiders Junior Hockey Club. They start to mount a comeback, and you give up 5 out of the next 6 goals, right? So even though you're able to come away with the win, the Vics still searching for their best game here early in the season. As for the Transcona Railer Express, well, a bit of a different story on how they ended up starting off the week in Morris, Manitoba on Friday night in Pembina Valley's home opener, and what a performance it was from this Railer Express squad. As we've already seen them a few times here on the network already this year. Such a good puck-moving team, and no different here. Trey Sun throws this to the front of the net, and that would end up being tucked in, I believe, by Ryder McClure, as Transcona would go on to rout the Pembina Valley Twisters by a score of 10-1 in that Friday night matchup. And as we take a look at the Transcona Railer Express, of course, putting up a 10-piece in Morris, it's been a high-octane offensive attack these past 2 games specifically. Of course, they scored a few goals against the St. Boniface Riels in that opener, but nowhere near what they've done in the past 2 games. 18 goals combined in their past 2 games, but you're coming into this one, you're probably riding high off of a heck of a feeling after putting up 10 goals in Morris. But you know that the St. Vital Junior Victorias team, they're going to be hungry to knock you off this afternoon. What I mean by don't take anything for granted is you come into this game ready to go, and with your sights on playing your best hockey here for the Railer Express. As Zamboni making its final laps around the ice, we're going to throw it to a commercial break again here coming up quickly. But before we do that, we're going to get into the keys to the game, brought to you by our sponsors, all 5 of them. As for the St. Vital Junior Victorias, simple. Focus on playing your game. Don't try to do anything, fancy or out of your control in this one. You're going to be missing one of your best players in Aiden Anderson. Nolan Anderson is still out. So given that, you got to, of course, see those young guns step up, and that's what St. Vital is hoping for again today. But cleaning up special teams is going to be huge. They give up a shorthanded marker, of course, in that win against the Raiders Junior Hockey Club, which started the Raiders' comeback. In my opinion, I don't think St. Vital looked that great on their power play. As well as on their penalty kill, they gave up a few goals on the disadvantage. So cleaning that up today is going to be huge, especially against a team that's one of the best in each special teams categories heading into this one in the Railer Express. And protect the house. We have it as a point for the Railer Express that, for them to have some of their most success today, they got to swarm the St. Vital Victoria's net. And if you're St. Vital, you got to be expecting that. All bodies crashing pretty much at all times from the forwards on your goalie today. It's about protecting your house and making life a bit easier for Ethan Penner, who's going to be getting the start, number 29. As for the Transcona Railer Express, look to get to transition this one and look to stretch the ice, connect with long passes, and maybe you'll start to space things out against the St. Vital Junior Victorious squad. Maybe you can start to open up even more open ice for yourself. I think taking care of their own end is going to be huge too if you're able to win those battles in the defensive zone and you're able to have good puck management, I think that Transcona should have quite a bit of success in this one. And then just swarm the net, do what you do so well, which is hunt pucks down, multiple bodies in front to cause some chaos in front of the St. Vital Junior Victoria's crease. Would be ideal for Transcona today in this one, as they look to extend their record to 3-0-1 today. St. Vital looking to get back to 500 and to, well, put their win streak to 2 games in a row. As the referees are onto the ice, the coaches are on the bench. We're going to get going here with the national anthem right away. We're actually not going to play a commercial. We're just going to go straight into the national anthems. You're watching MMJHL Game Day. MMJHL fans, on your home for MMJHL hockey on gshowproductions.uscreen.io. And by the way, this is the first out of 2 games we're broadcasting today, as we'll also have the Riels taking on the Twisters, which is starting off at 3 p.m. Bentley Brandt will be on the call for that one. Myself, Graham, the G Show Forsyth, will have the call for this one. Enjoy, everybody. Thanks for tuning in on this Thanksgiving Sunday in 2025. I'm actually not sure if we're going to get national anthems coming up here, as I think there's some problems with the sound system down here at East End Arena. So we're going to get going in just a moment here, MMJHL fans, as the St. Vital Junior Victorias and the Transcona Railer Express facing off for the first time this regular season. Enjoy the action, everybody. We're underway on this Thanksgiving Sunday from East End Arena. So we'll mute ourselves for just a moment as I try to adjust my mic. Trace Sullen chips that out, giving chase all the way down. Dylan Jaquette, as he'll rim this around to Goretzky. Railer Express taking a spill down below number 21 in St. Laurent. This taken away by the Vics and worked up down the near side. Edwards ends up firing that into the slot, but off the mark for Luke Elliott as he went into his skates instead. Up to Ryder McClure. McClure faking, goes back to Turner. Denied. Rebound there, but covered up right away by Ethan Penner, as of course he's the starter for today's action for the St. Vital Junior Victorias. As for the Railer Express, going with Sage Delarone, number 29. Your starting goaltenders, brought to you by Goaltenders. Your goalies, number 1 video service to be able to go over film. It's a one-on-one coaching service. Check out Goaltenders or GordyTumilsonGoalies.ca for more details. As this will be kicked in and down low by Connor Mitchell. Edwards trying to cut off that pass down low, but puck gets past him. Vandenbush, who just eclipsed 100 points, or reached the 100-point mark in Friday's victory. Out there right now alongside Whiteside. And at the line, number 8 and Ethan Morris, who just holds this in. Up top to help him out is Cam Sylvester. Sylvester goes to battle down low. A bit of rough stuff from Jorgen Nell as this sent back up to Morris. DDD pass to Todoric. Todoric fires that on net. Rebound there. Ends up back to Morris at the point. His shot turned aside by Penner again as number 29 locked in to start this one. The Vicks hemmed in here early. Just over 2 minutes played so far in this period. Great control by the Railer Express. That shot from range turned aside by Penner, as he'll get a breather for his squad here coming up. In this first period, by the way, that's brought to you by Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store. Sure to check them out today at 995 Miltseagull Drive, their only store location here. It's located in Winnipeg, Manitoba, or you can check them out on their website at cancentralsportscards.com. As the Railer Express protect this on the outside, drop back to Berchanski, drags, fires, turned aside by Penner again, as number 29 continues to be busy here. Not even 2 minutes and 30 seconds into this one. 2:29 off the scoreboard right now. Hayden Cochin steps in the face-off circle now for Transcona to take this draw. One by the Railer Express, still controlled. Johannesson sends this far boards. Vicks finally get control of it and get it out, but sent right back in by the Railer Express. Hayden Willis behind his own net. Being pressured by two Railers, makes a quick outlet pass to his teammate as it's sent up for the Vicks now. And carrying it in, Dinez sends that to Saxberg, who is driving middle, but couldn't complete that pass. Was Dinez. He gets it back now. Dinez at the line, just holding. What a cutback move to still protect the puck, but finally turned over in the slot area. Here's a break potentially for Transcona. Cochin, his shot turned aside by Penner. It's number 29. Makes a fairly routine save there. Godfrey off the near side boards, trying to bank this out. St. Vital finally does get it out as it's worked back in to the Transcona zone, just inside the blue line. Berchanski, stretch pass cross ice, ends up getting it down low somehow to number 21 in St. Laurent. Puck taken away now, and the Victorias will skate it up over the red line, sent in deep, rimmed all the way around. Is trying to cut it off number 11 for this Victoria squad, and Halpenny. Puck ends up down low off of the paddle of Penner and ends up high into the zone near the point in the Vicks end. As Halpenny will just send this in deep off the backboards, sticking out as blocker to stop it up was number 29 in Delarone. That was a nice hand-eye by Tyler Free, knocking that puck down right at the blue line. Left it for a teammate, but not quite there to connect with Dylan Jaquette on that pass. As McClure down low sends that high slot open man in Turner, but can't get what he wanted on that one. Instead, fires it right into the breadbasket of Ethan Penner. So we'll get another face-off coming up inside the Victoria's end. So Ethan Turner will take the face-off draw against Jaquette. Won by Turner to McClure. That shot turned aside by Penner. Rebound towards the backboards after the initial shot, as that seems like the net just went off. And with that, we'll get a face-off draw to the opposite side in the Victoria zone, to the far side from our broadcast angle, as Turner ends up losing that face-off, draws the Victoria, stretch it up ice to Free, delays, drops his back to Nell. Nell hesitates, has the puck knocked off his stick, but back at the point, Benji Peppers sends this in deep. McCorster First one on it for the Railer Express goes D off the boards to Howell. Howell near side works this up ice all the way down. So it went off of McClure's stick. As that'll be an icing on the play. Face-off draw all the way back in the Railer Express end. To the near side of the zone, draw one by the Railers. As Turner remains out there trying to whack this away, unable to. Mitchell gets a touch on it in the highest slot. Now Elliott trying to whack away at it, but unable to there. As the Railers able to get it out once again. Worked up quickly towards the blue line and sent in just as quickly by Edwards. It forces the Railer Express to have to break out here from 200 feet. Cross-ice feed out of reach for Sullen there. Vicks get it back and send it all the way back in to the Railer zone. Look out, Howell takes a spill into the boards, lost his edge. And it still seems like he's down. We're going to put our camera pointing at center ice as Howell gets attended to. Just a really awkward spill into the boards there. Just both players kind of colliding with each other. Howell losing his edge, and it's just something you hate to see, as the trainer's still attending to him. We'll step aside for just a moment here. As Howell ends up going off onto his bench. He's still hunched over, though. Hope that he ends up being okay. Of course, as I always say, when injuries like that end up occurring, or instances like that end up occurring, you just hope that the player is okay. Safety, of course, for them, their health, priority number one at the end of the day. In this game we all love. Is a Railer Express taken out. The puck not even near him in the Victoria zone. The refs not calling anything yet, though, in terms of penalties. As that ends up going off the dome of Whiteside and out of play into the Victoria's bench. So we're going to get another face-off coming up here inside the Victoria zone. As Vandenbush will be in the circle to take this against Connor Mitchell. Connor Mitchell gets the better of Vandenbush that time around, but nice job down low, Cam Sylvester. He almost wins this board battle. Vandenbush in for support now helps him complete that win on the board battle. That shot turned aside by Penner. Shot taken by Todoruk. Number 29 makes one of his many saves so far here through the not even 7 minutes gone in this period as of yet. 13:34 remains. Draw one towards the boards in the Vic zone. They'll rim it up now around near side to Edwards. The Railers able to take that puck away. Roan Code just outside the blue line. Sends this in deep. Penner out of his own net, left that for Goretzky. Goretzky's pass up the middle seam meets a skate of a Railer Express instead. Goretzky gets it back, tries going up middle seam again, but out of the reach for Luke Elliott, all the way down for an icing. This goes. As all five have to remain out for this Victoria side. And fresh legs out for the Railers, trying to take advantage here. Caution tried to slither his way through. Mitchell on the draw. That deflected, and Penner had to be sharp on that one and make the save, even though a high stick gets called on the play. It was his own defenseman, I believe. Not sure who exactly, but that puck goes off of his stick. And Penner, great reaction time to be able to make that stop. So he didn't have much time to react on that deflection. The Railer Express whip this across. Johannesson turns aside by Penner. Quick whistle, though. So he didn't have that puck completely covered. But nonetheless, did get a whistle. The Railers with Cochin out there again to take the draw. Both teams trying to find it in skates right now. It's recovered by the Railers down low. Worked up to McCorrister. McCorrister back down to Johannesson at the near side hash marks in the Victoria zone. Cochin loses this puck in his skates. Victoria's able to work up now. Close side. Tyler Free pass to the high slot. Ostorino couldn't settle that down. As he tried to cradle that pass in. Johannesson's pass cross ice. Attempt out of the zone. Blocked up at first, but now it gets to number 26, and Keaton Johnson tries to feed that shot through Jorgen Nellis. He's trying to use number 21 as a screen. Oh no, steps up into his own end and skates this into the Railer zone. Just past the blue line, sent it in deep. Circles back to the point to cover this breakout attempt now. Johnson tries sending this cross ice off of Victoria's skate and back to their defense. As they played off the boards near side, turned over to McCorrister. He tried slipping this out off the boards, but Nell did a good job holding the line. Johnson gets it back. Little spin around to protect that before sending that in deep just before the blue line. Penner gets a handle on this puck and plays it off the boards. Sent out by the Victorias as Bruchansky sends a pass up off of the stick of number 15 and Griffin Boomer. This puck ends up all the way back down in the Railer zone now. Griffin Boomer sends this pass up off the stick of Pruden. He redirects that past the red line. No icing call on the play. The Victorias will flip this out off the boards now. It's caught by Godfrey. He has help and he headed into the net. Godfrey shoots it instead. Big save by Delarone. That was one of his few saves made so far. Not even halfway gone in this first period as of yet. Bruchansky off the boards. Pass misses its mark. The intended target was Pruden. Pruden getting physical. So he laid a bit of a hit on Compte. So for the blue line, Griffin Boomer sends that in deep. Penner out of his own net. So play this to Godfrey. The Railers looking to get fresh legs out on the ice. The Vics looking to potentially expose that, taking advantage of some open ice, but they turn it over instead. Bruchansky tries to feed that up the near side wall, instead turned over. Delarone settles this down, left it for Coe. Over to Bruchansky, up to Mickler, chipped off the boards, up to Sellon, has Turner with him, drops it there. Turner shot, turned aside by Penner. Turner, huge hit was laid on him as well. Right after he took that shot, seems to be okay. That one had some heat on it, and Penner's reaction time up to par. As he sticks out that glove to snag it. Sets up another face-off draw inside the Vic zone. Won by the Railers. Coe, his shot, glove down by Penner again. You can't do that if you're Nathan Turner. So he's going to be going to the penalty box. For the first time in this matchup, we're going to get some special teams action. Yeah, the whistle had already gone. He gets a stick into Penner, and that's a no-no. And the Victoria is looking to capitalize here on their first power play of the game, going up against a really good penalty kill, though, who can create chances like this shorthanded. Johannesson tried to dangle through Goretzky, but unable to. This number 3 shut him down well. This power play brought to you by Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia for the Vics. Vandenbush, Johannesson out there as the forwards for the Railer Express, and Bruchansky and Coe on the defense on this PK. As for the Vics, Still try to figure out how to get this puck out of their own end. Another penalty coming up as well. As it'll be a 5-on-3 coming up for the Victorias. As one of their players getting spun down in Saxburg for a Victoria side. Comes into this game with the 6th-ranked power play, 10% so far. That shot blocked. Great sacrifice of the body by Roan Coe. Sending himself up now. What a move! A nutmeg dangle from Vandenbush. What a shot and feed to Bruchansky, but Penner shuts it down. Vandenbush lays the body now on Dinez, knocking him off his balance just inside the Vic zone. What a chance there from number 22. The Railers captain, Goretzky, sends a pass over to Dinez. Dinez tries to fire that through a screen. Rebound there, turned aside by Delarone off that shot from Ostorino. Ostorino got knocked down in the slot now. It's up top high in the Vic zone to Goretzky. Down low, he feeds that to Dinez. Back up top to Goretzky. Goretzky right back to Dinez. Dinez, great protection. But play will be blown dead as Mitchell ends up knocking off the net. As for the Railer Express, showcasing why that penalty kill is at 92.3% so far. They love to get aggressive. Love to try to stretch the ice anytime they can, even on the PK when they're shorthanded, as we just saw. Vandenbush had his opportunity. The Vics with an opportunity here, and they draw first blood. So I believe Luke Elliott gets a tip on that shot from number 13. And Jackson Green. And the Victorias on a 5-on-3. They'll have a bit more time to work on the power play too, as it'll go down to a 5-on-4. But exactly what you want here in this game if you're the Vics. A quick start against one of the best in the MMJHL here in the Railer Express. That goal brought to you by Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia. As Keaton Johnson, look out, Vic's bench. That puck sent right into the visitors' bench here at East End Arena. So everyone on high alert there from the coaching staff from the Vics. It will be a face-off draw just outside of the Vics, or the Railers' zone. Hand pass call here, play blown dead. Face-off draw just outside the Railers' zone again. Right by the Railers' bench as the Victorias win this draw and get possession of it. Left for Connor Mitchell, plays it off the boards up to Tyler Free. Delays up high, sends it to a wide open Jackson Green. Over to Elliott, who tries to tip that on net. Inside of it as Elliott battles with Howell down low. Nice to see him back out there. The Railers able to send it all the way down to the Vics end. Penner out of his own net right away to play this to Jorgen Nell. Nell quickly over to Tyler Free. Free up the boards to Mitchell, who will just chip this in with 7 seconds remaining on the man advantage. Mitchell took a spill, a bit of a tumble into the boards there. As all the way down this goes, we're back to even strength. As the Railer Express able to kill off one of the 2 penalties that just went against them. For the Vics, gotta love that you're able to capitalize on that 5-on-3 to go up for the first time today to grab the first lead of this hockey game, as that shot can't get through, blocked up by the Railers. Giving chase was Vandenbush, but Willis played it quickly over to Compte. Willis lost his stick. He's calling for a new one. He'll have to just kick this out. Nice heads-up play from number 15. Get it out of potential danger. And as for Penner, he ended up playing it in the end. Looks like he was just going to cover things up to settle it down, as Whiteside was all over the crease there. Waiting for Penner to maybe make a mistake and play that. Not many mistakes at all. Or none really from Penner. He's been perfect so far through almost the first 15 minutes of this one. Green quickly to Goretzky and quickly plays that up to Saxberg. Tipped in front by Sylvester. Penner was ready for it. Sylvester will get this puck back down low again. Pass out front. Doesn't go. It's now held in at the point by Bruchansky at the line. Tipped on the way through but wide of the net. Off the backboards. Penner will cover it up. There's quite a few whistles in this first period, as we got the Victorias up by a score of 1-0 here. And able to win the draw too. A Saxberg, he'll have his pocket picked just at the red line, but great job to stay with his man in Sylvester. He was forced to play that back. Saxberg and Sylvester collide with each other. Vandenbush collides with Saxberg there right at the red line as a reverse hit laid on from the Railers captain. Off the boards, the Vics play this out, and there's a big hit for the Vics this time on Coe. Right side of their bench. As Dinez puts on the brakes at neutralized. Now kicks this out to Saxberg. Shot from range, turned aside by Delarone. It's number 29 steady there to make it. As Whiteside continuing to have some words for a few of the Victorias as they make their way back towards their benches. Both sides getting some fresh legs out as both teams collide on the face-off draw. Tied up well. It'll be one back and played to the point to Nell. Sends it across to Benji Pepper. Tried to locate Ostorino at the right face-off circle, but pass a bit too hard and aerial for him to handle it. All the way down low into the Railers zone. Now reversed by Todoric. Feeds this number 8 in Morris, who sends it off the boards and out. As Ostorino will flip this back into the Railers end off the boards. Morris, first one on it, plays a pass quickly D to Todoric. Todoric to Johannesson to Kotchin. Kotchin picks the pocket of Ostorino, in on Penner. Kotchin goes high of the net, down that far right side of the rink in the Vics end. Johannesson gets it over to Todoric. That shot fired right into the logo of the jersey. That's worn by Penner and covered up by number 29. Let's face off to the glove hand side of Penner, won by the Vics. As the Victorias play this off the boards. D pass to Compty as Compty looks to skate with it. Fires it up. Cross ice feed missed to Luke Elliott. McCorrister will backhand this to Pruden, and Pruden sends this all the way out off the boards. As Willis, he'll mishandle this puck down low. It allows for the Railers to take it away. And down low, Pruden out in front, that short pass, and shot denied by the Vixen Penner. All the way back down, this goes into the Railers zone. Good stick in the lane to disrupt that pass from Mitchell. Great job by Tyler Free to get to that puck first at the blue line and send it in deep. Both him and Mitchell go off for a change. Patterson remains out there. McCorrister sends a pass to St. Laurent, but off his stick, he turns this over. Godfrey steps up now, sends this down low. Sends it out of the reach of Hal Penny, however. This huge hit on Willis there, just on the Railers side of the red line. There's been a few of those so far this period on multiple players. Up to Hal Penny again. Hal Penny trying to fend off some Railer Express players as he tried to make his way into the Vig zone. This turned over, now picked up by Sullen. Sullen dropped that back to McClure, but passed just off the mark. As the Vics make their way up once again into the Railer Express zone. Godfrey's shot can't get through. This is blocked up by a Railer Express stick from St. Laurent, who flipped it all the way down. No icing called on the play here. It's a nice job from, I believe that's Jackson Green, who got to safety. Now cross-ice feed just off the stick of Dinez and turned over. McClure battles to try to work this up back into the Vic zone, but once again taken away by Jackson Green. He'll kick it to the outside upon entry into the Railer zone. Down low, Dinez lays the body on Coe, but he shrugged off that hit while Railers flip it all the way back into the Vic zone as Goretzky first one on it. Quickly feeds it up the middle. Number 20 in Carter Lee. Lee will get this right back and now sends this into the near side corner. Berchansky, a bit of stick work on Lee. Caused him to win that puck battle. Now it's to Selin. Tries sending it to the slot, but that pass cut off right away by a Victoria. So it gets sent all the way down for an icing with 2:14 remaining in this opening frame. You're watching MMJHL Game Day on this Thanksgiving Sunday in 2025 on your new home for MMJHL Game Day on gshowproductions.uscreen.io. Vandenbush loses that draw just to Dinez. As Carter Lee will chip this out now. No ice will be called on the play, as Morris will be the first one on it. Stretch pass up and chipped in by Whiteside. It's down low below the goal line. Sylvester ends up winning the puck battle. Whiteside alongside with him. As puck still in the corner, now rimmed around as Cal Todoruk stepped up. Now Victoria now steps up on Vandenbush just outside the blue line. Tried to lay a hit on him. So be worked up to Tyler Free, an outlet man. Dropped it back to Jaquette, who plays it across to Pepper. Pepper sends that pass into the skates of Ostorino. Vix won't get it to go. Todoruk will take it away. Carried back just inside his own end. Now he's behind his own goal line, behind his own net. Passed it to Whiteside, which was the outlet man who fed it up to Vandenbush. Vandenbush with wheels, breaks through the mix, D scores! And how about them apples from number 22 and Nolan Vandenbush, who, once he gains a step, he's pretty much gone to attack on the Victoria's goal that's occupied by Ethan Penner, and it looks like maybe Vandenbush is going to pull off a deke. Pretty sure he basically does. Ends up going 5-hole. He drew a penalty too in the process, but of course that not going to end up coming to the Railers. I'm pretty sure they'd rather take the goal as they're up 1-1, or they're tied 1-1 in this game. That goal brought to you by Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia. For the first time this afternoon, the Railers able to put one past Ethan Penner, who's been tremendous so far, really stellar in this game. So we'll see what type of response we get from the Vics here in the next 30 seconds. So got to be careful not to give up the lead. It could be a TSN turning point, as they like to say. That shot from range from Cauchin turned aside by Penner. 24.8 seconds remaining. As Nolan Vandenbush turns on the Jets. It was only Penner to beat, and he did just that. This is Captain Clutch for the Railer Express in the last moments of this opening frame. Here in the Railers' home at East End Arena on this Sunday afternoon. Delayed offside, Railers forced to regroup. Now they'll be able to go back in again to attack. Losing a handle on that was Coe, as it's covered up by Penner. With 8.5 left. Draw will be the far side, right face-off circle in the Vic zone. Tie up, but one back to the point by the Railers. Now down low. That pass off the stick of McClure to Selin. Maybe one more chance, try to whip that back door. The pass doesn't end up getting through to its intended target, which was Ronco. And with that, after a very entertaining first 20 minutes of action, we go to our first intermission. Tied up at 1 apiece. For the Victorias, it's one of their vets in Luke Elliott that gets the scoring started in this one. But in the last moments of this period, Captain Clutch for the Transcona Railer Express and Nolan Vandenbush puts on a show and burns past every single VIX defender and back checker and puts a beautiful move on the VIX goal to beat Penner 5-hole. We'll have the shots for you coming up, as well as some analysis from the first period near the end of the intermission, during the intermission. And then, of course, once we do come back, we'll be just about set to call the second period of action here on MMJHL Game Day on this Thanksgiving Sunday in 2025. Thank you so much for tuning in, MMJHL fans, wherever you may be tuning in from. We appreciate your support. Can't wait to appreciate the next upcoming 20 minutes of this one. We'll be back. This first period, by the way, was brought to you by Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store. Check them out at 995 Milton Drive or on their website at cancentralsportscards.com today.
Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, the Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store.
And welcome back into East End Arena. We're just about to get set for the second period of action here. Shots 17-6 in favor of the Railer Express after the first 20 minutes. It was the Vics who drew first blood, with Luke Elliott scoring the first goal of this game, as it was assisted by Jackson Green and Jorgen Nell. It was a power play goal as well. So great to see that for St. Vital special teams. Them getting it going there cleaning it up was one of the main focuses in our keys to the game for the Vics heading into this one. Nice to see them get it going on the power play. But then Nolan Vandenbush putting on some magic, the captain for the Railer Express, scoring the game-tying goal with just over a minute left to play in that first period, his fourth of the season, assisted by Declan Whiteman. Only 2 penalties throughout that period, both coming to the Railer Express. And yeah, I mean, looking at the goaltenders in this matchup today, Ethan Penner, almost perfect during that first period, stopping 16 of 17 shots faced. He was really sharp out of the gate in this one, and yeah, big reason why St. Vital is able to get out of the period tied at 1 apiece, and with them being able to keep it scoreless for as long as they did was, big thanks to Ethan Penner. Sage Delarone, he's been pretty solid in this one. Shot that ends up beating him. You know, it was high quality from Luke Elliott, and yeah, nearly perfect shots are what it seems to take to be able to beat Sage Delarone, one of the top goaltenders heading into this season in the MMJHL. As yeah, this not the only game going on this afternoon, as it's going to be the Pembina Valley Twisters taking on the St. Boniface Riels in Southdale coming up at 3 p.m. We're going to have that game broadcasted live on our Uscreen network here, and it'll be available to, of course, watch and or purchase afterwards as we archive our games on our Uscreen service. But yeah, Bentley Brandt of Prairie Sports Network will be on the call for that one, as our company G-Show Productions and Prairie Sports Network collaborating this year to bring you MMJHL game days. There's also going to be the Charleswood Hawks taking on the Raiders Junior Hockey Club at 3:45 p.m. And as for the River East Royal Knights and Fort Garry Twins, they're the last matchup to get going today at 4:45 p.m. at Terry Sawchuk Arena. River East right now, an undefeated squad with a 3-0 record. As for the Transcona Railer Express, they're about a point behind them at 2-0-1 heading into this one. St. Vital, of course, looking to get back to 500 and win their second game in a row. The Railers on a 2-game win streak heading into this one, looking, of course, to extend that to 3. Thought that as that period went along, the Vics start to get more offensive zone time, more high danger chances, and for them, that's what it may take in this game today, because the Railer Express, one of the most skilled rosters in the league, it's almost certain that they're going to be able to put up a lot of shots on you. How do you survive that, and how do you start to capitalize and bank on your opportunities? We'll see how St. Vital continues to be opportunistic in this one, or if they start to control play in this period. Let's see if some momentum can swing. As this upcoming period brought to you by Movement Fitness and Performance, as well as Elite Prospects. For Movement Fitness and Performance, be sure to check out their website at movementfp.ca. As that shot turned aside by Delarone, as Compte ended up taking it. Yeah, as for the Victorias, playing without Aiden Anderson and Nolan Anderson today. Started off hemmed in that first period. Here so far, started off in the Railer Express zone as the Vics work this out of their own end again, as Hayden Willis tries to sauce that towards the net to a teammate heading there, but pass didn't get through. As Vandenbush feeds this down low to Sylvester in front. That pass somehow goes in. It's Whiteman who ends up putting it home. And that goal, brought to you by Movement Fitness and Performance, has the Railer Express up for the first time today. It's a simple tic-tac-toe play. Whiteman able to get prime position in front to be able to pop that in over Penner. Excuse me. Throat got a bit scratchy there, but for the first time, the Railer Express able to get the lead as this puck loose to Trayson, poked it ahead for Turner, but out of his reach, so it ends up being covered up by Ethan Penner. Right idea from Sullen, just a bit too much juice on that feed into the Victoria zone. Dines to take the draw against Turner, won by the Railer Express. It's McCorrister up the near side to Sullen. Penalty going to be drawn here by Trey Sullen. 2 minutes for boarding, and for the first time this afternoon, we'll see the Railer Express get onto the power play. The right call by the referees. We'll put Elite Prospects onto the board. It's good to see Trey Sullen's okay. After that hit, he remains out there. Beyond the flank as Vandenbush taking the draw and wins it. Back to Bruchansky. Bruchansky, his shot tipped high over the net. Rebound there, Vandenbush. Just settles it down off the backboards, though. Gets it back up to Bruchansky. Bruchansky to Vandenbush. Pass to St. Laurent off the mark to that left face-off circle. Far side. Controlled down low by Turner. Feeds it up top to St. Laurent. Over to Bruchansky, who's turned aside by a good kick save by Penner. Sullen fed that through, but not cleanly to Vandenbush. He cradles it anyways to Bruchansky. That shot over the net just rose a bit at the end to make it go off target. So the Railer Express still control this puck. Around the net, Vandenbush goes to the far point to St. Laurent. St. Laurent drops it right back to Vandenbush. Vandenbush, his shot turned aside. Another good save by Ethan Penner. It's been all puck control here for the Railer Express until it wasn't. Mitchell able to get it out. As him and Luke Elliott go off, get some fresh legs out onto the ice. Edwards along with Dylan Jaquette out as the forwards. Jackson Green and Compte as the defensemen, as Bruchansky will look to go for a skate. Bruchansky weaves in. His shot just catches a piece of Penner. Shot that had quite a bit of mustard on it. A lot of heat there from Bruchansky. As St. Laurent turns up ice to Bruchansky, back to Vandenbush, back over to St. Laurent. St. Laurent almost losing control of that puck. He'll just play it to safety around to Vandenbush. Down low, that pass misses to Sylvester. The Vicks end up turning this over down low. Clearing attempt unsuccessful. Up top, Bruchansky. His shot blocked there. Nice job by Edwards being in the lane. But the Railers still control. Near side point pass to McClure. Over to Whiteman, whose shot can't get through cleanly. 6 seconds remain. Puck just gets out of the Vic zone. They're able to clear it with success for a second time. As we are back to even strength. What pressure there from the Railer Express. Really impressive. As that stretch pass batted down somehow by Ronco. So the intended target was Dinez. A little stop-up move now by McClure in his own end. Laser reverse hit 2 on Saxberg. Be careful, almost in trouble of turning that puck over. As it's turned over and sent back down deep into the Railers' end for the Victorias. Saxberg sends that to Dinez. Pass somehow gets up to the point to Pepper. Over to Goretzky. His shot wide of the net. So that had some heat on it as well. McClure settles this down behind his own net now. Feeds it over to an outlet man in who feeds across ice again into the neutral zone to Whiteside. Catches up to it, now establishes the zone to Kotchin. Draw pass feed, what a save by Penner to deny either Sylvester or Whiteman on that chance. What an opportunity there for the Railer Express. They were able to work it through in transition. Sent in, but no ice in, as it's deemed to be tipped off of a Railer Express. Choderick lets to stretch that up. Ice in, does. Finds Griffin. Boomer sends it over to Whiteman, but that unable to find him. So it was into his skates. Boomer down low. A bit of physicality on Benji Pepper. Halpenny in to help out for the Victorias and gets this puck back to an outlet man near side in Patterson. As Patterson, look out, is expecting that hit from Boomer and absorbed it pretty well along the boards. Boomer still down low, loses his edge now as he's in the battle with Benji Pepper. Pepper will turn this over beyond the goal line. The Railers work that towards the front of the net, but denied by Penner. A nice quick save as that shot ends up going wide after the net is off. With 14:20 remaining here in this period, it's the Railer Express grabbed an early period lead to go up for the first time this afternoon. And since the power play they just had, it's been mostly their puck possession too. The Vicks send it in again to the Railers' end, but the Railers end up turning it over just at the blue line, actually. So they try to chip this off the boards. Great job by Compte stepping in to hold that in the zone, but sends this out of play. So we'll get another whistle here. Face-off will remain inside the Railer Express zone. As a veteran line now out for the Vicks. Mitchell as the center, and Elliott as well as Edwards also out there. Railers won this face-off draw. Vicks just held the line at first, but finally Railers able to get it out. Nice spin move by Luke Elliott. Turned the puck over afterwards. So it's controlled by Morris. Off the boards, Morris tries feeding that to Johannesson. Picked up now by Kotchin, whose shot just catches a piece of Penner's blocker. Number 29 able to make the save. Edwards finds some open ice, up passing that to Luke Elliott. Shot from distance turned aside by Delaronde. As the Railer Express was closing in on Elliott, all he wanted to do was get some sort of offensive zone time established. We'll see if the Vicks can do exactly that with an offensive face-off draw coming up. Stellarone just decided to cover that up to settle things down for his squad, getting fresh legs out. As this face-off draw, both teams collide in the face-off circle, and it's eventually won by the Vicks, but the Railers take it away right away. Now work this up into transition, up ahead to Sullen, has Turner heading towards the net, shoots instead, looking for a rebound was Turner, but just out of his reach. Another shot turned aside, that time from the point. Set smothered by Penner. Straw, won by the Vicks, sent down low, won by the Railers, sent down low by the Railer Express. As it's up top to McCorrister, over to Howell, walks in, shot turned aside by Penner. As Howell, frustrated with that attempt, he slams the stick into the boards afterwards in some frustration. Another stop and play here. With 12:57 remaining in the second period of action. Won by the Victorias off the face-off draw. Rimmed around, but line held again by McCorrister. His shot, way wide of the net, ends up bouncing into the Vicks possession. But it'll be turned over once again. Fed through to Turner. Turner surveying options, ends up trying to feed it to the point, but that cut off well by the Vicks. Turner, nice job staying with it, gets it back, sent it to Sullen to McClure. McClure tried to put it back out to the outside, but turned that over. Ostorino along with Free, leading this rush in. Free, his shot, a second chance as he got his own rebound off of a loose puck. Stellarone ends up holding on to this one. Cover it up. So face-off draw to the near side in the Railer zone. One towards the boards by the Vicks. Initially, the Railers were able to jump on that puck right away. Up in the neutral zone. This gets sent out of play into the benches. Or rather, the Victoria's bench, at least. This face-off draw will be just outside of the Vicks zone. As a result of that, draw one by the Railers. It'll be fed back by Sylvester. DeCo, as Co past the red line, sends this in deep. Rimmed around strong enough to get it to Whiteman. As Whiteman sends it down low to Sylvester. Got spun off of his balance there. As the Vicks will send this out. Trying to stretch this up, but that didn't end up going. A puck ends up off of the skate of Vandenbush as it's kicked into the corner. Off the stick, that goes up to Nazen out of the Vicks zone. It's sent right back into the Vicks zone to Vandenbush. Draw pass into the slot to Sylvester, but his shot misses just wide of the net. That near side now pass quickly up to Dinez. Dinez, what a dangle as he protects that on the outside. Pulls that to the forehand and shot it just wide of the net. As a stick ends up breaking there. Not exactly sure whose. That's Whiteman's. Huge hit along the near side boards, which will result in a Railer Express penalty. As Cam Sylvester ends up going to the box. And with that, the Victoria is back on the power play for the third time this afternoon. 11 minutes exactly remaining in this second period. So it'll be brought to you by Movement Fitness and Performance this time around. The Vicks, their only goal of this game, coming on their first power play opportunity of the matchup. In their third, we'll see if they can equalize this once again. The Railer Express, with different plans, however, is already pressuring the Vicks down low, and they're able to force a turnover as Vicks cough this puck up. As Transcona just content with dumping this down again, forcing the Vicks to break out from 200 feet. Jackson Green to a wide open Connor Mitchell, far side. Now cross ice near side, but that'll be batted out A volleyball spike by a Railer Express defenseman to get it out of pressure. Ends up right back into the Railer zone. As Todoric sends it in deep. Shot on net. Turned aside by Penner. As Penner will flip this to Saxberg. Saxberg over to Goretzky. As he gets possession of the puck once again, Goretzky puts on the brakes, delayed, passed it to Dinez. His pass cross ice, hit a skate, and caused it to go off the mark. As Caden Johnson hauls down to Victoria now. As we get a whistle. No penalty called, but a whistle nonetheless. 51 seconds remaining on this Victoria's man advantage. Draw one cleanly by Vandenbush back to Bruchansky. Bruchansky stick handling a bit before he sends that all the way down. Ostorino tried to glove that clearing attempt down right at neutral ice, as you just saw. As Goretzky will put on the moves on Johannesson to evade his pressure. Fed quickly cross ice to Dinez. Dinez will delay. Tries to maneuver down that left wall and does just that. Sends it down low. Number 23 and Edwards, who sidesteps a Railers D before feeding that up to the point to Goretzky, whose shot turned aside by number 29 and Delarone. As Edwards in the face-off draw. Dinez steps past him, feeds it up to Johannesson. Johannesson towards the net, backhand turned aside by Penner. Great shorthanded chance there from 11. He still controls it, saucers this to the slot, but misses his man, number 7, Bruchansky. So we're back to, well, not even strength. We just were, but it's the Victorias now that are going to be going into the box. 2 minutes for a cross-check. Coming up to Ben Dinez as he pleads his case to the linesman as he goes out of frame there for a moment, but isn't going to do him much good there. It still is a penalty coming up to the Vics. This one will be brought to you by Elite Prospects now for the Railer Express as they're back on the man advantage. Bruchansky over to Vandenbush. His shot deflects after hitting the body on its way towards the net. The Railers worked up a lot of good offensive zone time, a lot of good momentum last time out when they were on the power play. Sullen, great vision, but didn't quite see the stick covering his teammate there. So he tried to send it back door. Vandenbush down the right side. He'll drop this back to Bruchansky. That shot deflects out of play. And into the netting. So we got a face-off draw closest to us, the near side on the Vic's end. This face-off draw won by the Vics, but taken away by the Railer Express. Bruchansky off the wall to Vandenbush. Vandenbush just keeps it after he fanned on that pass attempt. He'll skate down low and work this back up top with a pass to St. Laurent. St. Laurent hesitates. Finds Bruchansky. Bruchansky, his shot deflects just high up over the net. Missing its target. It's dropped back to Bruchansky and Bruchansky feeds it over to Vandenbush. Vandenbush over to St. Laurent. St. Laurent to Bruchansky. One-time blast turned aside by Penner. But the Vics unable to get it out. Saucer to Bruchansky again off the backboards. Trying to poke it in was Turner instead. Settles this down and controls it. Got a pass to Sullen. Sullen protects and drops to Bruchansky. Tries to send it back to Sullen. Right idea. Sullen sent a shot on net. From a sharp angle, turned aside by Penner. Back to Bruchansky. Over left face-off circle. St. Laurent turned aside by Penner again. Vic still can't clear it out. Bruchansky again. This time it's snagged by Penner as he continues to be busy here. 7:14 remaining in this period. 14 seconds left on the Dinez penalty. The Railer Express, really great puck movement here on this power play. It's just about putting the puck in the back of the net now. Vics just surviving their onslaught for the time being. How long does it last? Over to Whiteman. His shot blockered aside by Penner. 29 remain sharp here into the last moments of this power play. Whiteman again denied by Penner. We're back to even strength as the Victorias get possession of this puck again. Flipped up ice, backhand towards Dinez from Goretzky, but that just off the mark. Back into the Vic zone, fed quickly to McClure, but he can't receive that pass. Fed into the slot. He fed back up into the neutral zone, sent down by the Railer Express as Willis turns this over at the point, tipped in, scores! It's only a matter of time until the Railer Express were able to capitalize for their third of the game. Again, really great momentum built off of that power play where they had all of the control. The Vics doing a great job of surviving it at those onslaughts for the most part, but moments after the power play concludes, Transcona gets right back into the St. Vital zone, and finally a shot thrown on net. Gets the tip they needed to give them their largest lead of the afternoon so far, with 6:13 remaining here. That goal brought to you by Elite Prospects. So it's a 3-1 hockey game now. 3 unanswered goals from this Railer Express side, as Godfrey sends this in deep. So the Railers unable to play it out. It'll be right back down low in the Railer zone as Morris sends this out off the boards. As for the Railers, they'll work this quickly D to D. It's to Todoric. It's Kyle Todoric, by the way, not Michael. Michael, of course, played on this team last season, but it's not on this year's Railer Express side. But one of the Todorics returning has to have this Railer Express side fired up, as well as just how they've been able to get into this game this afternoon and get better and better. Another power play opportunity is going to be coming up soon here as a Railer Express got hauled down in front of the net. As Delarone to the bench. Railers have to backtrack in their own end after they couldn't keep it in the Vic zone. Still a delayed penalty. Johannesson cut off along the near boards by Halpenny. A 2 minutes for a cross-check coming up to Benji Pepper. Number 2 for the Victorias. It will send Transcona back onto the power play. Brought to you by Movement Fitness and Performance. No power play goals so far, but as mentioned, a lot of great momentum and pressure created off of the man advantage as they look to do a lot of the same things here on this upcoming 5-on-4s. That shot just turned aside by Penner. Loose puck able to be sent out by Mitchell. This delayed high stick will just be touched up by the Railers, which will get us a stoppage in the play. 4:21 remaining in this second period of action. The metal frame here from Egg Golden Arena, aka East End Arena. There's a bit of patience right now for the Railer Express as they look to work this up quickly towards the line. Cauchin, nice spin move. Somehow able to allow for this team to enter legally onside still. The Victoria is able to get possession of the puck and send it all the way down. Dinez giving chase, but Delarone, first one to it, plays it quickly up into the neutral zone to McClure. McClure, nice move to protect this. Dangled under the stick of a Vic. Now sends it onto the stick of Sylvester. Over to Whiteman. Whiteman to the left face-off circle. To Cohen, gets that back. Whiteman We'll get it back now from McClure. He sends it right back to Coe. Coe walks in, fires, turned aside by Penner. Scooped up off the boards by McClure. Doesn't like his options, left side. Goes near side to Whiteman as Whiteman's shot turned aside by Penner. With 33 seconds remaining on the Benji Pepper penalty for cross-checking. There's a bit of commotion on the ice right now. Not quite sure what that's about. Turner set to take the draw against Mitchell. Won by Nathan Turner, possessed up top by this Railer Express side. Now over to Vandenbush. Vandenbush back up top he goes. Number 7, Bruchansky, back to Vandenbush. Vandenbush, his shot! Somehow Penner ends up making that save. Thought it might have slid through his 5-hole at first. But does just enough to keep that out. And to keep this only a 2-goal deficit for the time being. Mitchell. His attempt to chip and go and neutral ice shut down right away by the Railers D. They're right back and into the slot. That pass for Turner was on the mark, but shot just a bit too high. Vandenbush, as the dying seconds of this power play go, we're back to even strength. As the Railer Express, that shot from a sharp angle off the side of the net, McClure. We'll get it back to Vandenbush. Vandenbush up top to Bruchansky. His shot turned aside. Railer Express in front and Sullen taken out. As both Penner and Sullen continue, mostly Penner, continue to go at it as Penner shoves him down to the ice and kept pushing him down. Not really allowing him to get up. As the Railer Express arguing that there should be another power play for themselves, arguing that Penner interfered with Sullen, and Penner just kept giving him shot after shot with that glove of his, the left hand, but yeah, the referee's deciding they will keep it even strength. Derek Gagnon has some words right now for one of the head referees. Trying to figure out why Sullen doesn't end up drawing a penalty there. But after all that commotion, we stayed even strength. Face-off draw coming up inside the Victoria zone. Both teams tie up on the face-off draw. This will be possessed by the Railer Express. Back to Howell. His shot turned aside by Penner. Keaton Johnson fires that just wide of the net after emerging from the goal line from below. Physical play at the line there. Not sure if you could see it on the broadcast angle, but this game may very well be ramping up in its chippiness, its physicality here coming up as Cauchin's shot turned aside by Penner. A quick shot after he receives a pass down low. Cauchin will remain out there alongside with Johannesson and Johnson. As draw won by Cauchin, but turned over right away as the Vics swooped up to get that. As that shot turned aside by Delarone, and he'll get us a stoppage in play. With 1:50 remaining in this period. Face-off draw. Looked like it was going to be won by the Vics, but Railers did a good job of cutting it off. Jumping that face-off win right away by the Vics. Rimmed around all the way to Johannesson. Johannesson to drop that back from McCorster. Did McCorster got hit along the boards, knocked him off the puck, and allows for the Vicks to work their way in. Dinez drops this back for Lee, but pass just off the mark of Lee. Tries to fire that on net, but fans on the attempted shot as the Railers play this cross ice. Down the left side, Railer Express. A player in St. Laurent gets taken down hard. Big hit there by Compte, which will chip and go to himself. Compte still holds on to this puck. Shot just high of the net, as Delarone not forced to make a save that time. In the corner, Howell takes a bump from number 4 in Compte. Reversed around, Dinez cuts that off. As the Vicks try to maintain possession. High up, that pass over to Free, scores! Oh, he's had himself a heck of a past 2 games now in the goal scoring category. As for Tyler Free, his 4th goal in the last 2 contests now for the St. Vital Junior Victorias. Had a hat trick, their first win of the season on Thursday night. That time around, Free doing a lot of what he did best in that Thursday night victory, which is find an open ice, make yourself available for a 1T. And does exactly that. His shot, a quick one-timer, overpowering Delarone to beat him. As that goal brought to you by Elite Prospects, the most informative hockey player database on the web today. Sure to check them out at eliteprospects.com. As the Victorias make it within 1 on the scoreboard, and here maybe, just maybe, you can tie it up late in the final seconds. Tyler Free lost the puck. Ostorino had a chance at it, but fans on the shot, as here's a chance for the Railer Express now. Griffin Boomer, Asco with them, drop pass, not going to connect with number 10, as Willis will just send this all the way down, forcing Delarone to make a glove save. So he'll just plop that down, and with that, MMJHL fans, Railer Express and Victoria's fans, we go into the second intermission with the score 3-2 for the Railers. They led the scoring in that period, outscoring the Vicks 2-1. They had scored 3 unanswered at one point, but the Vicks, in the dying seconds of this second period, end up making things interesting. They catch the Railer Express lacking a bit, able to win the battle along the boards to get the puck back, and great awareness to feed that puck to Tyler Free, who lets a 1T go into the back of the Railer Express net for his 4th of the season, and the goal that draws the Vicks back within 1 in this one. Stay tuned with us as we got period 3 coming up next. We'll have updates from around the league too, as Riels and Twisters are well underway now into at least the first period. Maybe it's even ended there. Be sure to check out all the scores, by the way, from around the league at mmjhl.ca, as there's 4 games going on in total in the league on this Thanksgiving Sunday. And, of course, 2 games that we're broadcasting on our network. Not only this one, but Twisters taking on the Riels, as Bentley Brandt and his crew is on the call for that one on gshowproductions.uscreen.io. This second period here from East End Arena, brought to you by Elite Prospects, as well as Movement, Fitness, and Performance. We'll be back for the call of the 3rd and final period of regulation here at East End Arena. But be aware, it may not be the final period of this one. Could we still see overtime? Do we see a shootout here? Can the Vicks tie it up, or do the Railer Express finish it off in OT coming up? We'll find out next here coming up on MMJHL Game Day, live from East End Arena on this Thanksgiving Sunday. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. And welcome back to East End Arena, heading into our third period of regulation into period 3 with the Railer Express up by a score of 3-2 on the St. Vital Junior Victorias. Scoring throughout that period, 2 goals for the Railer Express, a goal near the end of it for the Victorias. Goal scorers in that period: Declan Whiteman with his 4th of the season, assisted by Cam Sylvester and Nolan Vandenbush, and then the Cameron Sylvester tucking one of his own, as Kyle Todorick had the assist. Dylan Jaquette with a great pass to Tyler Free, though. In the late stages of that period, in the final minute, to find Tyler Free for a one-timer. Free now with 4 goals on the season, 4 goals in his past 2 games. That past period of action was brought to you by Movement Fitness and Performance, as well as Elite Prospects. Terrico will be the sponsor for this upcoming period. And before we get into some analysis from that second period and just from the first 40 minutes of this game, want to let you all know about the other game that we're broadcasting on U-Screen right now between the St. Boniface Riels and the Pembina Valley Twisters. It's 2-1 currently in favor of St. Boniface, 2:01 remaining in the first period according to the MMJHL's website. 2 games to get going still today. At Iroquois Arena, 3:45 p.m., the Raiders Junior Hockey Club on the road to take on the Charleswood Hawks. And then the last game of today, 4:45 p.m., Fort Garry taking on the undefeated 3-0 River East Royal Knights at Terry Sawchuk Arena. The 2 teams that have the day off today, St. James and Stonewall, as Stonewall hasn't played since Thursday here in the league. But as for this game so far, as we take a look at the shots, another period where the Railer Express were able to lead in the shot category. 19-8, they outshot the Victorias that time around. I thought that even though they didn't connect for any goals on the power play, it was looking really good, and they were able to generate a lot of positive momentum off of that. And yeah, just so many great looks so far for the Railer Express, but lacking the finishing to really put this game away, considering the amount of chances that they've had. And a huge credit so far has to go to Ethan Penner. He's played phenomenal in this matchup. He's made 34 saves of 36 shots faced so far. And the Vics doing just enough to be able to chip the puck out at times, attacking off the rush, being opportunistic, and hanging in this hockey game, which has been great to see. Pretty entertaining so far, as it started to get a bit chippy too near the end of that period as the second period really ramped up. Could only imagine how this period is going to end up going in that regard. But yeah, as for us, our last MMJHL game day broadcast of this week, as week 2 will officially be in the books after today. We're going to have a doubleheader broadcasted for you on Thursday night, as both our main team here at G-Show Productions and Prairie Sports Network will be delivering you games on the gshowproductions.uscreen service, or .io service. That's, of course, what you type into your browser to find us, gshowproductions.uscreen.io. But yeah, on our Uscreen service, we got a doubleheader coming up on Thursday night, which will feature St. James going into Stonewall to take on the Stonewall Jets. And then we're also going to have the St. Vital Junior Victorias facing off against the St. Boniface Riels on Thursday night too. But as we await both teams waiting to make it onto the ice, coaches are already waiting at their respective benches. But of course, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Thank you so much for choosing us and tuning in here on this Sunday afternoon. No, you could be anywhere else, but you've chosen us, so thank you for doing so. Your official broadcaster of the MMJHL and your home of MMJHL game days. We still have a few games left this month to broadcast, which is really exciting too, as we continue to get into the full swing of this season as action will continue to pick up. And yeah, as for the St. Vital Junior Victorias, as mentioned, heading in, trying to get back to 500. Looking at the standings heading into today, like, it really means nothing that they're out of a playoff spot, only 3 games in, but yeah, currently 9th place heading into today's action. As for the Transcona Railer Express, if they're able to get help from the Charleswood Hawks and Pembina Valley Twisters today, and they come away with a clean 2 points, and St. Boniface and River East end up losing in regulation, Transcona would end up going into first place alongside with Charleswood, of course, who is also at 5 points. Both the Railer Express and Charleswood Hawks are at a 2-0-1 record to start off this season. The 2 teams that are absolutely perfect, though, to start off both at 3-0 are the River East Royal Knights and the St. Boniface Riels, which I heard for River East, it's like their best start in about 15 years. Great to see that team starting off so well this year. And it's been great to see how well Transcona has played to start off this season. Their puck movement, their speed, it's been on full display. Still got to work on a bit of finishing today, but that's been no problem for them throughout their past 2 matchups, as they had 18 goals in the past 2 games combined against Stonewall last Sunday, and of course putting up a 10-piece on the Pembina Valley Twisters this past Friday. As for the St. Vital Junior Victorias, though, you gotta really respect how this team's been able to battle today. Without the Anderson twins, as Nolan's injured, Aiden is out with an illness today. Their young guys have stepped up, as mentioned, and they've gotten some really great goaltending. But can that continue here, and can they even find a way to reach another gear in this game where they are down, of course, by 1, getting outshot by quite a bit, but none of that matters, as, hey, they're still very much well in this hockey game and within striking distance. As passed up to Tyler Free. He tries to find that in the body of Bruchansky, but Bruchansky able to swing that away. Turned it over, though, as Tyler Free tries to play that up back to the point, but unable to get it there. Ostorino will wind up now into the zone. Ostorino defended well by Bruchansky as he lays the body on him, knocking him off the puck. So Victorious send that all the way in deep, as Bruchansky forced to retrieve this. Short little pass out to Whiteman. They'll send that cross ice past the red line down deep into the Vic zone. Vandenbush on the forward check. The Vic's able to evade that, as quick transition, that pass just misses Luke Elliott in neutral ice. Tyler Free able to take that away. Dishes it off at the blue line to Connor Mitchell. Mitchell tries to feed that through to Elliott. Mitchell gets it back now, turns it over as Whiteman picked that off to an outlet man in Edwards. Edwards winds up, his shot turned aside by Delarone. So it'll be chipped out now by Whiteman. The Vic's back in possession. Stretch pass all the way into the netting as it deflects off of Mitchell's stick. As already mentioned, this period of action will be brought to you by Terrico. Sure to check out their website at terrico.ca. They are serving Manitoba producers for over 80 years in the agricultural industry. Be sure to find out why today at terrico.ca. Mitchell wins that draw towards the boards, as Jackson Green pokes this to Goretzky. Goretzky through the middle to Edwards. Nice strong pull move to protect on the outside, but ends up turning it over just at the Railers' blue line with an errant pass. Howell, just inside the blue line, walked in, fired that. It's a save made by Penner. This near side, just past the red line. Edwards sends that in deep. It goes off for a change. High sticking called here. This will get the play blown dead. It's funny enough, beautiful day playing on the speakers. It's been quite rainy today, quite ugly out. Hope everybody is staying safe on the roads. I know it's rain, but I remember driving one time in the rain. It's like a torrential downpour. I know it's not serious out today, but driving in heavy rain can be quite stressful. It can kind of through with your vision driving a bit. So yeah, for anyone on the road today, if it is continuing to rain out there, hope everyone is staying safe on this Thanksgiving Sunday as the net was knocked off its bearings. So forces a face-off draw coming up here in the Vic zone. Nathan Turner to take it against rookie and Ben Dinez, as Turner on the tie-up against Dinez. Ends up being Dinez who gets possession of this back off of the draw. But stretch pass was turned over. Railers sent it right back in. It's deflected in to the Vic's bench, and hey, look at that athleticism from Davis Koga. Snag that puck with the left hand. Trying to do his best. Odell Beckham Jr. one-handed catch impression. Or really, actually, for a local reference, anybody who watched the Bombers game last night got a chance to see Ontario Wilson's catch. It's one of the craziest catches I've ever seen. Never seen anything like that, to be honest with you. But as we get back into the action here at East End Arena, 17:28 remaining on the third period clock as the Victorias lose this draw on the Railers' end. Railers try to play it up the boards, but the Vics do a good job of clogging that area of the ice. Picked up by Sullen now as he looks to work in with some speed. Cuts to the middle, drops this back to McClure to the front of the net. That pass gets to Turner, and Turner, last year's Railers' leading goal scorer, gives them the two-goal lead back, as I should say. Well, Sullen and McClure work some magic. Sullen in tight spacing cuts into the middle, trying to split the Vic's D. Decides to drop this back to McClure, and McClure finds a bit of room to weave his way through, throws the puck quickly towards the net, where right in front, Nathan Turner, a nose for the net, able to have a nice finishing touch on that chance. As here's another chance for the Railers, turned aside, this time is Keaton Johnson by Penner. So, of course, that goal brought to you by Terrico we just saw. So it'll be another offensive zone face-off draw coming up for the Railers in the Vic zone. Cochin on the tie-up, able to allow for his team to get possession of this and win the draw back. So that shot from the point, Bruchansky ended up missing wide. As in front, trying to spin and fire was Cochin, but defended well by a Victorious defenseman. Dylan Jaquette evades the hit, just dodges it at the line before sending it in deep. As Keaton Johnson will send that across now. Number 10 in Cole will be cut off, knocked off his line. Delayed offside too for the Railers, so the Vics have some room and some time to work this up. But off the stick, this turned over. Scompty couldn't receive that pass. Off the boards. And drop back now to Nell. Nell right back. He fires that to Edwards. Tries firing that towards the net, but wide of it. Edwards' shot attempt goes. Vic's turn it over now in the Railers' end. As just past the red line, St. Laurent sends that in deep. But Victoria and a Railer tangled up down below. That was Connor Mitchell along with Ron Coe back in the Railers' zone. Into the Vic zone now as they send that just out. Mitchell lays a bit of a hit on Howell along the near side boards. Puck deflects up. This will be taken away by the Railers. Just inside the Vic zone. This turned over. Luke Elliott intercepted. It goes one-on-one with Howell. Decides to shoot. Elliott turned aside by Delarone. And Howell got this puck back. Howell just past the red line. Dumps this in deep. Will retreat back to his defensive position. St. Laurent down low takes it away. Tried working it in front, but couldn't keep a handle on it. He continues to battle with Nell along with Saxberg in for support. with Sylvester up to the point. He sent that to Howell. Cross D to McCorster. Shot from distance. Turned aside by good blocker save by Penner. Saxberg whiffs on that puck. Couldn't get a shot on net. Instead sent it wide. As Sylvester sends that cross ice just out of the reach for Whiteman and down for an icing. As offensive zone face-off draw for the Victorias coming up. 14:35 remains in this third period as the Railers just grabbed back a 2-goal lead moments ago. So of course 32 heading into this period. A 4-2 goal courtesy of Nathan Turner. Cam Sylvester, his cross-ice pass just misses number 21 in St. Laurent. Allowed for the Vics to get possession of it. Stretch pass. Hit nobody for the Vics on the way down, so it will be deemed an icing. This face-off will be the right face-off circle. Far side in the Victoria's zone. Shot tipped, but doesn't test Penners. It didn't get through towards the net. Saxberg had that knocked down by Sylvester. Sylvester sends it right back in. Goretzky up the middle. That pass off the stick right away of Lee. Does this work D-to-D quickly. Chipped up and all the way down low into the Victoria's zone. Vandenbush along with Whiteman pressuring Jackson Green. Misplayed that puck a bit. Stays in the Vic zone. Shot now wide of the net as Whiteman spins, fires that. I believe Penner just caught a piece of it. Todoruk sends this down low. He gets to Vandenbush. As Vandenbush slides that towards the net from the left face-off circle. But again, Penner not challenged. High stick waved off right away as Todoruk touched that puck up quickly. No icing called on the play here as the linesman deems that to be tipped on its way down. Godfrey now protects this puck, sends it up the boards. And it gets to Halpenny. Halpenny fires that into the slot, but off the mark as it's into the skates of Willis. Turned up ice again from this Railer Express side. Whiteman, upon entry into the zone, is called for an offside. As him and Compte collide with each other afterwards. It's 12:58 remains. Face-off draw to the near side, just outside the Vic zone, won by the Railer Express. D to Co. Co feeds it through to Turner, but Turner spun off his line. Ended up having the puck turned over. It's sent all the way back down to the Railers' end. Scooped up by Bruchansky off the boards. He feeds this to Sullen as Sullen sends that right back to Bruchansky. Just past the red line, Bruchansky sends that in deep. Funny bounce off the boards in the corner. Allows for the Railers to almost work that back out in front, but pass intercepted. Cut off right away by the Victorias. Saucer pass cross ice, hops over the stick. Bruchansky is free. Got to it first, but ended up turning it over along the wall. Now pass gets to Free. Tries feeding that through. Free. Hackco's stick, too. That's huge hit from Cedric Compte on number 4 and Trey Sullen. McClure tries to get possession of this puck now. Forces Jaquette to send it quickly to Jorgen Nell. Nell, cut inside as he works his way into the Railers zone. Pass across to Ostorino. Off the mark as that was a bit behind Ostorino. The Railers get it out once again. It's the Vics, deja vu. They look to break it out once again. Turnover forced up high by the pressure from the Riels. It turned over in the slot. The Victorias drop this back. Nell, D to Benji Pepper. Work quickly across the ice the blue line to Mitchell. That was off the mark for number 14. Back into the Victoria zone. Short pass towards the front of the net, and the Railers able to capitalize. Number 9 in Caution. Able to put that one past Penner. And for the Railer Express, it's their largest lead of this afternoon. So they lead it by a score of 5-2. That goal brought to you by Terrico. The first goal of the day, I can say, where Penner would have loved to have that back. It's a chance in tight that ends up beating them. We saw it back for the go-ahead goal to give the Railers their first lead of the game in the second period, which made it 2-1. And the Railers going to that spot again and capitalizing once again, this time in the third period, and giving them, like mentioned, their largest lead of this hockey game so far, with that goal brought to you by Terrico. Okachin takes a hit there from Goretzky, and the Vics able to go the other way. Tyler Free tried to dangle but lost possession of the puck. That ends up getting through the skates of Victoria into the Railers. Railers back up high in the Victoria zone. Johansson trying to dangle his way through. Johnston somehow gets a shot in front, but turned aside by number 29 in Penner. Pass into the neutral ice, off the boards, and turned over back into the Railer Express zone. As Todoruk will flip that in. Ends up into the low slot there for Prude, and another chance for Boomer. Had a Vic draped all over him. Dropped it back to Todoruk, whose shot flex off of something and out of play. I believe Penner might have made that save. Defend that off. Shot, Morris at the point, misses wide. The Victorias have to be forced to retrieve this puck just above their own goal line. Now it'll be played to Lee. Lee feeds it across to Ostorino. Ostorino shut down well there by Morris, as he wasn't fooled by his trickery. So Ostorino tried to dangle past him. Now Todoruk will walk in just past the blue line, sent that wide of the net. Gets to his own rebound off the backboards, forced Penner to make a save. The Vics able to get that out of their zone again, out of danger. They get fresh legs out onto the ice too. Luke Elliott along with Kobe Edwards. Shot from distance turned aside by Penner. They'll just decide to cover things up. With 9:06 remaining here on this Thanksgiving Sunday, so we wish all of our viewers a happy Thanksgiving here. In 2025. Thank you for tuning in, MMJHL fans, and spending part of your Thanksgiving with us. As the Railers try sending that on net from a sharp angle. The Vics gobbled it up with their stick as they work their way up now. Past the red line. Dumped in by Nelson. No icing was called. Connor Mitchell cuts off that puck along the air boards, but ends up turning it over right away to Whiteman. Whiteman just past the red line, sends that in deep. Is in front, this sent. Quick pass. I can't connect for the Railer Express. Now D.D. Bruchansky. His shot somehow gets through, and somehow Penner's able to save that and make the save. Is another offensive zone face-off draw here for the Railer Express. As Vandenbush squares up and wins this back to Howell. Howell will dish this to the outside to Sylvester. Sylvester ends up having that shot blocked. as he sent it into the body of Dinez. Saxberg now in the neutral zone. Feeds it cross ice successfully to Willis. Willis over to Patterson. Back down low to Willis. In front. That pass unable to get through. Met some Railer Express sticks as well. Whiteman will flip that back into the Vic zone. Vandenbush covers it just outside the blue line, but is forced to send it in deep as Railer is going to be offside. The play would have been blown dead. The Vics work it back up. Tyler Free sends it to the slot as Dinez goes to battle with Howell. Howell lost his stick, picks it up again. Shot from the point turned aside by Delarone. It's a bit of a change of pace for the Vics in this period from the last few minutes, at least, of face-offs. So we'll get a draw inside the Railer Express zone. Nathan Turner against Patterson. Patterson lost that draw to Turner, but the Vics, good resiliency, almost had a chance to get it back off of the forecheck, but the Railers good enough to maneuver out of the zone, and they maneuver this back into the Vic zone. That shot from McClure turned aside. A dangerous shot there from 27, an even better save from number 29 in Penner. It's back into the Victoria's zone. D to D, now sent up cross ice in the neutral zone to Godfrey, but couldn't clear that pass onto a stick. As Turner will send this in. Nell trying to head fake to maneuver. Now nutmegs a Railer Express player, but has his pocket picked by Sullen towards the net. Sullen draws a penalty. Did it go in? Not sure. As Penner is sprawled out, we got a bunch of players giving each other shots in front. As Sullen still remains down. Drew a penalty nonetheless, heading towards the Vics goal. It will be Jorgen Nell heading to the penalty box, and yeah, the pressure from Sullen, you could see Nell, he's trying to make a quick move, stick handling quickly, loses a handle on the puck, and that, a big reason as to why is just Sullen being right there in his grill. Sullen, a great forechecker he is, able to turn possession over into his favor, and able to make a really nice power move towards the net where all the Vics are forced to do, all Nell is forced to do is to haul him down illegally for a penalty, as we saw. And a power play that has built some really good momentum for themselves throughout this one, even though they haven't connected yet for a special teams goal. Railers looking to do most of the good things they've done so far here for the next minute and 35 seconds now of what remains in this power play. Worked up to the point is Bruchansky. Protects this on the forehand. So he'll hand it up over to St. Laurent. Bruchansky gets it right back to St. Laurent. As St. Laurent now top of the point. Will back pedal before sending it back to Bruchansky. Over to Vandenbush. Vandenbush's cross ice feed won't get through. The Vics cause a turnover. A short-handed Dinez will just work this right back into his own end. Although he would have liked to connect cleanly on that pass to Willis, so the Vics weren't forced to go back in their own end to try to clear it out. So it was turned over, but the Railers a bit off on their pass to Vandenbush there, as they're forced to retreat out of their own zone again. And to break out almost 200 feet. As Vandenbush toe drags through, almost splits two Vics defensemen, but ends up being spun down in front. So the Vics able to clear it down again. Probably the Vics' best penalty kill of the afternoon so far. Under 5 minutes remaining in this one now. Potentially one more rush opportunity for the Railer Express. So it'll be sent towards the point. McClure just holding the line somehow. Great awareness there from number 27. Over to Whiteman, scores! Whiteman has some words for the Victoria's bench as well. As the goals just continuing to pile up here for the Railer Express as we've gone along in this matinee. That goal brought to you by Terrico, serving Manitoba producers for over 80 years in the agricultural industry. And funny enough, their first power play goal of this afternoon, after all the great looks they've had on previous power play opportunities, I'd say that was probably the worst looking power play they've had so far today. The best the Vics have probably looked on the PK too. But all the Railers needed is just a bit of extra ice. A bit of open space to take advantage of, and they did near the end of that power play. And of course, the passing on display in the end of it as they work it across to Whiteman for a great one-timer blast. This one getting really chippy in the late stages of it now. As Carter Lee having some choice words for number 6 and Kyle Todoruk. Todoruk's continuing to chirp him from the bench. Ethan Morris and Carter Lee both go to the box. For what I assume would be coincidentals. Looks like Todoruk may be heading to the box. No? Not sure exactly why he went out there to go talk to the referee, but he's back on his bench. Vandenbush and Mitchell getting an explanation from the referees about what's going to be happening here. And what will be happening is, well, the Railer Express will be going back onto the power play. Just kidding. It's going to be 4-on-4 action. So a bit more open ice for both these two teams to work with 3:58 remaining here. Morris in the box for the Railer Express. And Carter Lee in the box for the Victorias here. 3:58 remaining in this game. This draw will be won by the Railers. Controlled. Sits drop back to Ko. Ko sends it cross ice back to Bruchansky, who tries to dangle through Nell. Nell having none of that. Shut him down well. It'll be Jackson Green who'll go for a skate down the near side. Green protects along the outside. Will circle back up now. Finds Tyler Free. His pass cross ice to that left face-off circle. Doesn't connect. As for the Victorias, they'll just settle this down, getting it back into their own end as Jorgen Nell. Last time, similar situation as he was in his own end, gave the puck away and ended up having to take a penalty afterwards. Got the safety that time as Dinez. Look at the speed from number 5 as he walks and fires out of play. That shot goes. As it's exactly 4 o'clock now on this Thanksgiving Sunday. 3:03 remains in this contest as that pass into the skates of Mitchell. Fires a shot anyways afterwards. So he was able to get possession of it. This will be played D to McCorrister. His cross-ice feed off the mark for Johnson. And all the way down this goes for an icing. As Mitchell wins this draw, gets plowed over afterwards by Johnson. Mitchell right back up on his feet, or his skates as I should say. As the Railer Express able to work this out, past the red line, sent in deep. Off the backboards, back in the neutral zone. As a race for the puck, Johannesson just took one in the head. A bit of a headshot laid on there from it's either Connor Mitchell or Luke Elliott. As the Railer Express just hold this puck down low in their own end. Halpenny ends up being the one to touch it up for the Vicks, and it is Connor Mitchell who ends up getting a piece of Johannesson. As the Railer Express will go on to the power play here. For 2 minutes of 4-on-3. Now Saxburg being sent to the face-off box. And I believe it's because it's more than 2 minutes for Connor Mitchell here, as Lee makes his way out. So we go back to a Transcona Railer Express power play. See if we've updated on the website too to see if that's a game misconduct from Mitchell. Face-off draw won by the Railers, but they couldn't maintain possession in the Victoria zone. Instead, they're forced to regroup in their own end. Good forecheck there from Halpenny, almost getting possession back. But the Railers with numbers, able to settle down in their own end. As this were across ice. Declan Whiteman walks in. His shot fired into the glove of Penner. That's turned aside by number 29 for what? Well, I wouldn't be surprised if the shots are close to 60 here now for this Railer Express team. At least over 50, I'd say. Maybe not exactly close to 60, but we'll see once this game concludes in our post-game show as Whiteman is turned aside by Penner once again. Well, this time around he is. Last time around on a one-time blast for Whiteman. It ended up into the back of the net for the Railer Express. So that goal on the power play. It's Whiteman, Co, and the rest of the Railer Express, one of their power play units, back onto the ice. Here coming up in the last minute play now in this period of regulation. As it's fed over to Whiteman again. Whiteman from the right face-off circle. That blast couldn't get by this time. It's clogging the lane well. Where the Vicks. Sent cross ice over to Ronco. He'll drop that back to Sylvester. Sylvester over to Whiteman, scores! Might have been Cochin in front who tips it. But just like the most recent goal for Transcona on the power play, they get it to a similar spot near the top of that right face-off circle, and this time Whiteman has some help in front. A redirection from Hayden Cochin. Well, that goal brought to you by Terrico. It's their second power play marker of the afternoon in a game where, well, the Transcona Railer Express just seemed to take over. Penner did everything he could in this game, but just over time, the attack displayed by the Transcona Railer Express, how they continued to just keep attacking and constantly cycling, constantly pressuring the Vicks. It's led to some really great things for them today, and a season where they're 22.6 seconds away from stringing together their third win in a row and starting off 3-0-1. They're also going to be going back onto the power play. Brought to you by Terrico for 22.6 seconds. a different unit out for them now, as Boomer, Pruden, and St. Laurent, along with Howell and McCorster, sent all the way down by the Victorias. And in what was a valiant effort by the Victorias today, didn't have all of their horses in the stable ready to go, a few out, injury and illness. They ended up opening the scoring in this one, hung with the Railer Express for a while, but in the end, one of the best teams in the MMJHL ends off their second weekend of action with another statement win. It's another high-scoring affair for the Transcona Railer Express as they take this one by a score of 7-2. And that offense has been ridiculous for this team in the past 3 games. 25 goals combined in their past 3 wins. To say their offense has been playing at a high level is kind of an understatement right now. This third period was brought to you by Terrico. And yeah, in this one, I mean, what do you even say? The Railer Express just, finding ways to get goals past Penner as this game has gone along. They started off with a bunch of shots during that first period, and in the second period they put up even more shots. But they weren't really able to break this game open until this third period of action where, as mentioned, for the Victorias, a lot of time spent in the penalty box. Of course, Connor Mitchell gets a game misconduct for a head contact penalty. That's why we saw Liam Saxberg coming in to serve his penalty, and then Saxberg, of course, takes another penalty at the end of the game. But yeah, in that third period alone, it's 4 goals from the Railer Express, which really ends up being the difference. What I also really like from the Railer Express today in their game is just not letting up. Even though they had a 1 goal or even 2 goal lead at one point, right? Like, they kept attacking, they kept pressuring the Victorias, and that's a sign of maturity for a team where, in previous years, last year specifically, they kind of sit back when they had a lead, a lot of icings, but today, making sure to get past the red line if they are going to dump it in, getting after it on the forecheck, winning most of the races to the puck, imposing their will on the Victorias. And even though the Vics had some okay offensive chances through the third period, had some great looks throughout this game, Transcona able to take care of their own zone well enough, got some key saves from Sage Delarone. And yeah, just everything coming together for Transcona to really break through in that third period, putting up 4 on the Vics to end up scoring 4 unanswered in that third to make it a 7-2 victory. It was also nice to see that power play finally get on the board, them getting rewarded for the great work they were doing in the previous sequences, which, funny enough, these past 2 power plays, especially the second last one, didn't look like the best we've seen from Transcona today, but hey, I don't think they really care about that. They care more about finally being able to get on the board, being rewarded for a good-looking power play today. Transcona, they look strong to start off this season. Still impressed with how the Vics were able to hang in this one for the most part, but, like most teams, to give yourself the best chance, you'd like to have your full squad available. The Vics didn't today. They're young guns, trying to step up in this one, making some good things happen, but overall unable to produce the quality throughout the 60 minutes that this Vics team needed to come away with the victory. As we'll get into the players of the game, I got a Thanksgiving dinner to get to right away, so should be out of here soon. But as for the players of the game, we'll go with the losing side and the Vics, brought to you by Terrico, our third period sponsor as well. I'm going to give it to number 29 and Ethan Penner. Not sure what the total shots were. We'll get to see those tonight on the MMJHL's website or at some point shortly after once it's updated. But yeah, without him, his performance in that first period, this game could have been that much more lopsided. He really gave his Vics team a chance, but yeah, just as the game went along, Transcona, their pressure just a bit too much for Penner in this Vic side to handle. But Penner made huge save after huge save, especially through the first 40 minutes when this team was shorthanded. They were throwing everything at him but the kitchen sink, it seemed like. Yeah, Penner, even though he lets up 7 goals, there's a lot of shots he faced. I wouldn't be surprised to see them over 50, as it was high quantity in that part of the game, that aspect of the game from the Railer Express this afternoon. Player of the game for the Victorias, Ethan Penner, number 29, brought to you by Terrico. Sure to check out their website at terrico.ca to find out why they've been so trusted by Manitoba producers for the past 80 years. Elite Prospects player of the game for the Transcona Railer Express, who got the scoring started, and we're going to give that to... you know what, actually, we'll give it to Declan Whiteman, given that he had just a few more points than his captain, Nolan Vandenbush. Honestly, both these players, player of the game, you can't go wrong with either. Or for Nathan Vandenbush, he gets his Railer Express on the board for the first time today with an unreal goal in that first period. He was electric with the puck, so dynamic with it. But I think we give it to Declan Whiteman because Whiteman has 2 goals in this one, as well as 2 assists for a 4-point night and a 7-2 victory. And just what I like from his game is just how smart he is, going to the open ice, getting open for one-timers, quality shots put on net that were able to beat Penner. And he was also able to create with his playmaking ability in this game. Played a physical game, didn't back down from the Victorias, and his energy, along with him and players like Vandenbush, his teammates, feeding off of that today. And Declan Whiteman at the forefront of the offense today, along with Nolan Vandenbush for this Transcona Railer Express team, as their player of the game, brought to you by Elite Prospects, the most informative hockey player database on the web today. So that's going to do it here for us at gshowproductions.uscreen.io at East End Arena. For our main team here, we want to say thank you for tuning in and choosing us to take in this action on this Sunday afternoon. The Railer Express improved to 3-0-1. Check out the MMJHL's website, mmjhl.ca, to look at the full standings by the end of today's action. We'll update you on the scores for one final time. In this one, of course, 7-2 for the Railer Express. It's currently 4-2 right now in the last moments of the second period between the St. Boniface Riels and Pembina Valley Twisters. St. B is up 4-2 in that game. And the Charleswood Hawks, they're tied right now with the Raiders Junior Hockey Club at 1 apiece. Just over a minute left in the first period over there. There's still one more game to get going. Coming up in about half an hour, the River East Royal Knights taking to the ice in Terry Sawchuk to take on the Fort Garry Twins. Puck drops at 4:45 p.m. We'll be back for a doubleheader on Thursday night of MMJHL action on the 16th, as we'll be in St. Vital. Bentley Brant's side will be in Stonewall. Be sure to check out Riels and Twisters right now, as we're carrying that on our Uscreen service. And of course, portion of your money that you spend on our MMJHL game day coverage goes directly back into the MMJHL. Thank you to Terrico, Goaltenders, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Movement Fitness and Performance, and Elite Prospects for sponsoring another edition of MMJHL Game Day. I've been your host and play-by-play commentator, Graham the G Show Forsyth. Once again, wishing you all a happy Thanksgiving. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your weekend on this holiday weekend, and a wonderful day today. Hope you have some great dinner too. It's always a great time of year to enjoy some great food. And yeah, thank you again for supporting us as the Railer Express, well, feasting on this Thanksgiving Sunday. 7-2 the final over the St. Vital Junior Victorias. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time.